it's a little less seductive than the wanting mind, because for most of us, it's unpleasant to be hanging out in that space a lot. Whereas we can get caught in the wanting, oh yeah, there's this, I want that, I want that. But it's also true that sometimes we can get kind of addicted to blame and aversion. And some people that can be, you know, their MO. Oh, it's their fault, or I don't like this, and that becomes the way we relate to the world. If you're living in a mind that's filled with anger, it's so painful. I have so much compassion if I can take in small doses, you know, somebody who's just living in that space. For most of us, it's very unpleasant, but still we can get caught. And it's being human. I'm not talking about not ever being angry here, but just how to work with it when it's here. The aversive mind, you know, again, can come when you're sitting and you're trying to be present, and all of a sudden something happens. Either you think of something that triggers some anger or aversion, or you're experiencing it in your body, or you're experiencing a mood that you don't like, and then you compound it. I don't want this to be here. We say somebody is boiling with rage. It's a very agitated state of mind. And again, it keeps you from seeing clearly. So that's the second one. Attachment, wanting, aversion. Third of the big five, the classical hindrances, one that's been mentioned here from time to time, especially as you're meditating, is sleepiness, dullness. And I said in the classical teachings, this is known as sloth and torpor. That's the translation in English. And there you are meditating, and you're just having the nods. And also in our life, it can take the form of laziness, dullness, procrastination, just not overcoming the inertia. And in the meditation, it can be just like, you know, oh, who cares? You know, breathing in, breathing out. We just had a breath a moment ago. Do I have to pay attention to this? And you know how it feels when you just can't get yourself up for being present. It takes a little bit of intention and wakefulness. So, a very common experience, if you've had it, you've got a lot of company. It's so, we're used to operating on outside energy of stimulation. And so, you come to meditate, there's not much going on, okay, somebody's pulled the plug, it must be time to go to sleep. And it takes a little while to get in touch with your own inner resource of energy, but it's possible. So that's the third one. Okay. Fourth is the opposite of sloth and torpor, which is restlessness and agitation, which also includes anxiety, a kind of skittish mind that's flitting about. Can take the form of guilt, where you're just kind of replaying something over and over in your mind. Often restlessness, sometimes it's a complete physical experience, where you're sitting there and just all of this energy and you don't know quite what to do with it. Sometimes it can be initiated by mental mental formations and different stories, very often about either the past or the future. You know, we can start thinking about something that's happened that we regret, for instance, or we feel lousy about, and then get into this whole cycle of guilt and regret. And it's very painful. I come from a lineage of guilt. I know guilt really well. And it's a self-perpetuating cycle. You feel lousy about something that you've done, and then you keep on dwelling on what a jerk you are or how rotten you are, and that's a way that you punish yourself over and over. There's no way out of that. There's another way. Actually, there is another way out of it, but not guilt. Guilt is just a self-perpetuating cycle. Or whatever thoughts about the past that are disturbing. When you think about it, where is the past? Can you turn around really quickly and catch it behind you? The past is a thought that's happening right now in the present moment that we take to be real and keep on replaying. But it's happening right now. We just don't realize it. We're living in the past. It's even more interesting how we can create a scenario that hasn't happened yet, throw it out into this imaginary place in front of us called the future, and then start worrying about it. Uh-oh, what if that happens? But what if it really does happen? And you can just keep on replaying it over and over and over. And again, worry is a big one in my family. My mother, who is now 93, was very funny. By the way, just to interject, if you want to see something really funny, go to YouTube and catch my mother. She's up to like 190,000 views right now. If you go to Confessions of a Jewish Mother, How My Son Ruined My Life. And she talks about worry is her big thing. She says, if I don't have something to worry about, that's when I really get worried.
James, the best part of it is seeing your face during that video.
Oh, it's funny. It was filmed right here. So anyway, worry about the future. Where is the future? It's a thought that's happening right here, right now, in the present moment. But worry kind of keeps things at bay. Like my mom says, you know, if you're not worrying, you're not really putting in your time. And there's a famous anecdote. Mullah Nasruddin, who's the Sufi, did I mention him before? The Sufi figure, eccentric, wise man, fool. Lots of teaching stories from the Sufi tradition about Mullah Nasruddin. One day he's spreading breadcrumbs around the perimeter of his house very meticulously, and all of his students are coming in with him and watching him. And one of them says, "Mullah, why are you spreading those crumbs around?" And he says, I'm doing it to keep away the tigers." And the student says, "Tigers? There aren't tigers for hundreds of miles from here." And he says, "Effective, isn't it?" Effective, you know. Yeah, it's effective. If your mind says, "Oh yeah, I'm worrying and I'm keeping things at bay," then you keep on worrying. But worry and restlessness and agitation are often thought generated, not the physical aspect, but the mental one. Okay, so that's the fourth, and then the fifth, after attachment, aversion, dullness, restlessness. The fifth one is doubt, the doubting mind. This is the big classical hindrance that most all of us know. I can't do it. It's not going to work out. I'm not up to it. I can't trust whoever this is. And the doubting mind really cuts off all possibilities because we give up any effort when we're caught in this morass of doubt. Doubt about the meditation. What is the point of this anyway? You're just sitting here, trying to watch your breath, spacing out most of the time, sleeping, what is going on here? What's the deal, Or maybe about whatever the teachings are, I don't know about this stuff. Am I joining a cult? Or who is this guy anyway? What does he know? And the doubting mind is not just in the meditation. The meditation just kind of shows you, like somebody was saying, how the mind works. Doubt about lots of things in our life. So, how to work with all of these. A couple of things to keep in mind, and then I'll give some antidotes. First, to realize that any mind state that you can have is impermanent. It's not going to last. No matter how angry or how obsessed or how guilt-ridden or how doubting, every mind state comes and goes. It's just when you think that you're stuck and don't think that there's a way out, that you keep on compounding it. But to see it's impermanent, just like the weather. No matter how clear it is, the weather changes. No matter how stormy it is, it's going to change. And we don't expect it to be sunny and bright all the time. If it's sunny and bright too much, we're in for